We're going to go over Chapter 3 from the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, John Maxwell's book, and this is on the law of the mirror. And so just a reminder that I use the acronym SOAP, S-O-A-P. S stands for the section that we're studying. Today we're studying Chapter 3, the law of the mirror. O is for observations, and basically the intention here is for you to share anywhere between 1 and 3 observations that the material caused you to think about. It may be direct or indirect. It could be directly from, I read this chapter, I read this section, and this is how it spoke to me. Or it can be as a result of the material that I read, or as a result of the discussion that's taking place, it made me think about a certain situation or gave me an idea. I like sharing those because those are intuition. Those are unusual, and those are things that you especially want to write down because I believe that they lead to growth and opportunities. That this is the atmosphere that we're trying to create. We're trying to create an atmosphere or an environment of creativity, a mastermind, if you will. And then A is the application. So when you look at the 1, 2, or 3 observations that you made, what is an opportunity for you to apply whatever it is that you read, whatever it is that you observed? And the reason I do that is this is one way of really reinforcing what you learn. You're going from learning to memorization, and when you apply it, you really fortify the material that you learn, so hopefully it becomes long-term memory. And then P is passes forward. I always look at the opportunity and share with you that we have an obligation to share whatever it is that we are learning with other people, people that you're mentoring, people that you're tutoring, people that look up to you. And so any and every opportunity that you have to share the lessons from the chapter or the discussions, I think you should. And so ask yourself, who can I share this with? And this allows you to being able to explain it or share with someone as one of the best ways to confirm what you've learned, that you learned the material, and now you are helping other people grow. So this is always an opportunity for you to go ahead and pass it forward. And so my first observation is, if you have the PDF file, is on page 58. And so let's get there. Let's see. I apologize. Let's see. As you can see, I've highlighted different sections of the book. So the first observation is, after reading the material before my observation, you have a quote by Charles Schwab that says, when a man or person has put a limit on what he or she will do, he or she has put a limit on what he or she can do. So my observation is the only limits that we have are those that our subconscious mind tells us that we have. So we all have an internal dialogue that's pretty much continuously playing. And unfortunately, a lot of that dialogue is around what you cannot do. There are thoughts of limitations. There are thoughts that are disempowering. And so you want to, the best of your abilities, be mindful that you need to replace that recording with a new recording of, I have unlimited potential. I am able to. I am capable. I am more than enough. And it doesn't matter what my outside circumstances, what my conditions, and what my current results say. You want to replace that with a thought, an idea, and a vision of what you want, what you truly desire, and what you're capable of having. It may not feel like that when you first start doing this, but it's through constant spaced repetition of repeating, I'm more than enough, I'm able. Money doesn't make me, I make money. Whatever affirming and empowering thoughts that's what you want to have. And that includes shutting out, turning the volume down on what other people either say about you, to your face, behind your back, or what you've heard. You have to set those aside, learn to ignore them so you can become the greatest version of yourself. So, again, that's my first observation. The second observation is on page 61 of the PDF. And so this observation is basically on section number 10. He's talking about take responsibility for your life. We tend to get in life what we are willing to tolerate. So that's really important. You're getting in life what you are tolerating. If we don't have a plan and a purpose for our lives, we will become part of someone else's. So you have to be intentional. You have to see where you are right now and where it is that you want to be in the future. And then you want to imagine that. And every day you want to imagine it again and again and again. And what that happens is over time, you're essentially memorizing a future state. And by thinking about it every day, you're adding more details to it. So, for example, if you're thinking that I want a particular home, but you think about it again tomorrow, and all of a sudden it's like, all right, I went from kind of a general picture of a home to it's a 2-story home, it's a 3-story home. This is the square footage of the home. These are how many rooms, how many bedrooms. What does the kitchen look like? What are the appliances? What are the brands of the appliances? What's the layout of the furniture? So that's really what I mean by creating that image. And so when you're thinking about taking responsibility for your life, you teach others how to treat you by what you tolerate and what you're willing to tolerate. So this goes back to start thinking in your mind, creating a vision of who you are. Who do you want to be? And the person that you want to be would not allow people to disrespect them. The person that you want to be would probably not associate with some people, especially the people that are treating you unfairly or poorly or don't respect you. And so this is why it says over here, you are teaching others how to treat you by what you're tolerating from them. So this doesn't mean that you should be militant, and it doesn't mean that you should be thin-skinned to the point where if somebody tries to give you constructive feedback, you are upset, you are basically feel like it's destroyed your day. So there, draw a line between the two, because there is a difference. There's constructive feedback to help you grow, and then there's the other type of comments that people are making that are intended to either hurt you or hold you back. So you need to know what your value is. And so your value is that you are a precious person. You have unlimited potential. You are capable of doing whatever it is that your heart desires. So that's your value. And then my third observation is on the next page, is page 62, and it's what I call the 7 levels of awareness. This has helped me many, many times. As I write here on the screen, is I've used this multiple times every year. It is not Maslow's 7 levels of the hierarchy of needs, but sort of kind of a way to master yourself. And so you have these 7 levels, and the first level is called the animal, which is fight or flight. This is where you are reacting to things as opposed to the ultimate level, which is you're responding to things. And so I wrote, for example, looting, rioting, arson, random acts of violence. You're targeting innocent people. You're just trying to rob them, take their stuff. This is kind of behaving based on reactions. You're at the animal level. Doesn't mean that I'm calling you or referring to you as an animal, but that's what that bottom level is. The next level up is called the mass, and this is basically you're following the crowd. You're conforming to group thinking. And understand that masses are never leaders. Masses are always led. So, and here is sort of your concern with what other people think. you're constantly saying, well, what will they think? Now, you never define who they are, but what will they think? What will they say? And so you're afraid to make decisions that are in your own best interest because you're concerned with what other people will think of you. Then the third level, as you move up, is aspiration. Now you're starting to pull away from the masses and you are aspiring to be more, to do more, to have more, to give more. You haven't taken any action yet, but now you're starting to think and recognize, because you have a higher level of awareness, that the former you or the current version of you is just not getting the results that you want, the results that you desire. So now you start to say the next level up is individual. You want to express your uniqueness. So you don't want to be identified with the mass, with the crowd. You want to be you. You want to be the best version or a higher version of you. And so you're starting to think, how do I express myself? Who am I? Who is Rich Arriaga? How is he different than the other people? And how do I want to sort of portray myself so people see me as opposed to associate me with them or with other people? And then you go to the next level is discipline, which is now you're starting to give yourself a command and you're keeping it. And so that command might be that I'm going to start reading a book on personal development. I'm going to create a habit that helps me or helps me grow. I'm going to start volunteering some time. I'm going to actually start applying for new jobs, new opportunities. I'm going to teach. I'm going to give. So you're giving yourself a command and you're going to give yourself a command. So sometimes 3, 4, and 5 actually start to occur at the same time simultaneously. Then number 6 is experience. Now you have some real learning under your belt. So now you're looking back and say, I've tried these things. They didn't work as well as they could have, it should have, but I'm failing forward. Or I've tried these other things. I have a learning model of success. And these are the things that I do that work out. When I do X, Y, and Z, I get these results that I want. So I want to start learning from my experiences so I can harvest the things that have worked and sort of set aside the things that are not really being as effective. So for me, I'm intentional about not watching TV. I'm intentional about not reading or listening to the news. It doesn't mean that I live in a vacuum or that I'm not informed, but I know that watching those things poisoning my mind, it has hurt my career, has caused a lot of stress, unnecessary stress for me. So what I do is I spend time with people that are like-minded, people who are trying to grow, people that are creative, people who have big dreams, and I associate as much as I can with them. And in turn, I take the material that I'm learning and I share it. I do the A and P. I apply it and I pass it forward. And one of the other reasons that I pass it forward is because I sincerely believe that is giving that you receive, and by me making this material available, by me giving of my time, by me giving of my wisdom and my knowledge and the mistakes that I've made, I'm learning from other people. Other opportunities are presenting themselves. The universe is putting people that I would not otherwise have met or associated with because our lanes would not have crossed. They are what I call the SNS, the synchronicities and serendipities. These opportunities just keep presenting. Doors keep opening for me that otherwise would not have happened in the natural. And the doors that should close, not only are they closing, they're being sealed shut. They're basically welded shut so I can't go back to them. And then the final level, which is mastery, is now you've learned to respond versus react. And so I think you've heard a Stephen Covey quote about between stimulus and response. There's a gap there. And so you get to decide what that gap is. And I believe that he got that quote from Viktor Frankl, the book. But basically the point is, now when something happens to you, you have gotten better in terms of I'm not going to react. I'm going to think, and I'm going to reply, and I'm going to respond. And it doesn't mean that you're going to be 100% perfect. It means that you're continue to grow, you're going to get better in all the areas of your life when you use this type of model. So those are my three takeaway. Now what you should do is share your observations. And one of the things that I like to remind people is that if you happen to be the last person who's going to share your observation, unless the other people who went before you said it, use the exact same words that you were going to use, then go ahead and say, my comment, it's already been covered. But otherwise, I would encourage you to go ahead and say it in your own words, with your own inflection, with your own voice, because you do have a voice. We do want to hear your voice. And you may say something in a way or use a word that really becomes like a moment of epiphany for something else, for someone else. Or the way you said it or the example that you provided really changes that person's trajectory in a positive way. So I encourage you again to go ahead and say and share your observations as well. So this is Rich Arriaga. If you want to contact me, I'm at richarriaga.com. So if you have any comments or you want a copy of the PDF, if you don't have it, please let me know. Have a great day.